7:39, Big 550, KTRS. Ryan Burrow, ABC News correspondent, who is still not necessarily both feet on the ground after his Cubs victory in the World Series a couple weeks ago. Good morning, Ryan Burrow.
Good morning. There's a lot to be thankful for this time of year, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there's Anthony Rizzo, Joe Madden, Bricks and Ivy, the north side of Chicago.
Bricks and Ivy.
A lot.
All right. Are you this insufferable normally, or is this just a special World Series?
I save this up for you.
Okay.
I save it up. It builds throughout the day and night, and then when I jump on with you, it all comes out.
All right, Ryan Burrow. What's going on with the USDA? Give us some safety tips for the Thanksgiving.
All right, it's time. You got the bird. You're ready to cook it. Are you cooking a bird this year?
I am. I'm smoking the bird.
Oh, smoking the bird. Very, very good. Well, here's some tips for you. First of all, we're going to start actually at tip number 2 because this is important right now. We're, 48 hours out from Thanksgiving, and unless your bird is under 10 pounds, you're in some trouble if you haven't started thawing this thing in the refrigerator. It goes about 5 pounds, 24 hours for every 5 pounds. So, it probably would have been best if you've got a 15-pound bird to have put it in maybe over the weekend or so. Now, there are ways you can get around that if you still need to thaw this thing or you forgot or maybe got a late turkey or something like that. You can do it in cold water, but it's important to rotate that water out every half hour because you don't want to spread the germs that are on the outside of that bird. And unfortunately, if you leave it sitting there for hours on end, that just increases the possibility of spreading some of these foodborne illnesses. You can also microwave it if you're in a real bind, although if you do have a big bird, that could be a little...
Microwave your bird? I'm not going to anybody's house who microwaves their bird.
Hey, desperate times call for desperate measures,
You'd get a dry turkey. I can guarantee you.
Number 1 rule on here: do not wash that turkey because, like I said, with the cold water there, unfortunately, if you dunk this thing in your sink and let it sit there, all the water that's touching that bird is getting on your hands, it's getting on the counter, it's getting on the floor, wherever, and that can spread foodborne illness. So you do not need to wash the bird if you're going to cook it the right way. That's completely unnecessary. You want to get that bird up to 165 degrees, so you'll need a meat thermometer, and you'll want to test it at the breast, at the thigh, and at the leg as well, just to make sure you've burned off any potential bacteria. Do not store the food outside, even if it's cold out. Why would you think that would be?
Because another bird would come and take it away.
Bingo. Yeah, you don't want the Bumpus's dog to come over and start licking at it, right? That's one of the reasons why.
It's
the other is,
enough.
there is a fluctuation in temperatures, and if you're trying to balance the hot and the cold, that could be an issue. And this is kind of interesting. Tip number 5: leftovers good in the refrigerator. This is turkey we're talking about. You cut it off the bone, you throw it in the refrigerator. How long do you think you can eat it out of the refrigerator?
4 weeks.
No.
4 days. 4 days.
4 days.
Now, look, you can throw this thing in the freezer. You'll be fine for months. But if it's early mid-December and you're looking for an evening snack and you find some turkey in the back, you might want to stay away from it.
But I mean, turkey sandwiches after Thanksgiving is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
how is it still around 4 days later?
Throw them in the freezer. Throw them in the freezer and then thaw it when you're ready. But don't leave it just sitting in the refrigerator because that's when things start getting a little icky.
Does the USDA recommend rye bread with turkey after Thanksgiving?
They don't get into that here.
They don't get into that.
They don't. Is that a thing? Is that a tradition?
They don't. So they're discriminating against rye bread. Rye bread, mayonnaise, a little cracked pepper, and turkey. Right, is just the best Friday afternoon lunch you can find.
Yeah. Hey, so in St. Louis, is it called dressing or is it called stuffing?
Ooh,
Where are we at?
I think it depends on the household.
Yeah, it's day to day. This is where the confluence of the world comes in. So some calls it stuffing.
It's the gateway to the West.
Yeah,
so.
right. Some calls it stuffing. Some calls it dressing.
Yeah.
In the Midwest, it's dressing, but the East Coast it's called stuffing. So I guess you do both around here.
All right. My wife makes White Castle stuffing. We managed to eat a couple sliders the night before too. I don't do that Blackout Wednesday stuff anymore. So we go and we get a 12-pack of White Castle, and then we rip them up and break them up, and that is what becomes the stuffing. It's got everything. It's got onions, it's got the bread, it's got meat, it's got pickles. It's great.
Do you cook it in the bird, or what do you do with it? Oh, you cook it in the bird.
You cook it in. That's your stuffing or dressing or however you want to call it.
You know, Ryan Burrow, I hate to say this publicly, but that's not a bad idea. That sounds pretty good.
Well, and like I said, I like to put down a few sliders Wednesday and we go pick them up. So that's really the highlight of the day right there.
All that means is that your wife is a very, very special woman to put up with you.
She deals with me, so that just shows you what we're working with.
All right, Ryan. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for checking in.
Take care.
Bye, Ryan.
All right, there you go.
That's the first I've ever heard of that.
I haven't heard of that.
White Castle stuffing.
But as painful as this is to say publicly, there's nothing better than stovetop.
Well, you know what? I will concur.
A stovetop is the best.
It's not bad, but when it comes to Thanksgiving, you got to have your own.
You got to step it up a little bit.
My sister and I make this oyster stuffing. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
I got to tell you, the stovetop stuffing
But in a quick fix, it's not shabby.
Stovetop it's just crunchy enough and just soggy enough all at the same time.
I tend to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, so all right.